thank you very much for coming along today. We're splitting the press conference into two halves, if you like. We're concentrating, of course, today on the undercard, the main event coming up at a press conference here tomorrow. Nathan Gorman and Daniel Dubois. And Joe Joyce and Brian Jennings will be taking to the stage after we've gone through the fights, which are represented by the guys up here. But it's a tremendous bill, which I think has generated as much interest and speculation as many in recent months and years. Top of the bill, it really sells itself. It's one of the best heavyweight title fights, British heavyweight title fights in many a year. And I can honestly sit here and say, I simply do not know what's going to happen. It's a fascinating fight. And Francis, first of all, a few words from you. Terrific bill to be involved in, and a great lineup of fights.
It's another fantastic bill we're putting on. Following on from the show in Leeds last month. We're doing it again this Saturday and producing the top bills for the fans. Both obviously in the ring and live on BT Sport. Saturday's card from especially the televised portion of it from top to bottom is second to none. All these guys are stellar professional fighters who are all at all the different stages of their careers, but will fight for world titles and will win world titles, and they're all in tough fights on Saturday. Especially the top of the bills, the two heavyweight fights. I think they're genuine 50-50, both of them. And Liam, Sonny and Archie looking to continue their progression up the world rankings.
And it is a sales pitch which has to be made as well, and tickets are still available.
Some tickets still available, and you can get them on the website behind us, which is access.com, and some still available. So if you haven't got them, make sure you snap them up.
Well, let's start with the fights represented by the guys up here now. First of all, Sonny Edwards, who's away to my left here from Croydon, fights out of Sheffield. Vacant IBF International Super Flyweight title fight against Hiram Gallardo from Mexico, who's had just 2 defeats, I think it is, in 16 fights, and is typically a tough game Mexican. And Sonny, the guy who, so far as British opponents are concerned, seems to be the one who nobody wants. You've performed so well in your recent contests, you've become a little bit of an avoided man.
Yeah, that's the way it seems to me at the moment. I mean, I know, obviously, my promotion team, Frank Warren, was going to win the purse bid, to the best of my knowledge, for the British, and they pulled out an hour ago. They weren't interested even hearing what the offer was. And they still got locked out of fighting for the British for a year, whatever the penalty is. And it's frustrating, really, because I would like to build my career the traditional way. You know what I mean? I think that's sort of the golden route that everyone would like to achieve. Go English, British, Commonwealth, European, and that way. But that's not happening for me right now, because maybe I'm too much of a risk for what I can offer, as an opponent. Even though right now I'm getting good TV back on the BT, it's a massive platform. This will be my 3rd fight in a row live on a TV slot in BT. That don't happen all too often with flyweights and super flyweights, so I'm happy I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm open to speak with any of the British flyweights, super flyweights to fight, absolutely any of them. Obviously it's got to make sense, whether that's titles, whether it's opportunity, whether it's purse. If it makes sense, then I'm there. There's not a single name that I wouldn't. But for now, I'm not going to let anyone sort of delay or stall my career. I've learnt from my brother's mistakes. He was promised a world title fight against a British fighter, vacated his British for that to happen, and then ended up boxing 2 8-rounders in 12 months. And I've learned from that, and then I saw how he was going through that period of his life, and it was hard for him. Obviously he went full circle and he ended up winning the WBC world title. But I'm not going to go through that stage where anyone can stall my career. I've done the hard work and taken the risk to get up on these tables now, and on these TV bills, to fight in front of big audiences, so now I'm just going to stay busy. I'm getting really looked after by my management team. My promoter, to the best of my knowledge, is happy with me, how I'm performing, how I speak, how I hold myself, and I'm getting kept active. You know what I mean? I'm in a good contract and I'm in a really good position. And right now, the only person that sort of can take that away is by me not performing in the ring. So as long as I keep up my hard work in the gym and turn up on the nights, then I can only see it going an upward trajectory.
You've had your wins against Ryan Farag and then Junior Granados, which was a tremendous performance after he clipped you early on. He came and did what was necessary there. And then your Portuguese opponent in your last fight, Pedro, Modos, and stopping him in 8. What do you regard as your best performance then, coming into this fight against Gallardo?
The best performance of my career tonight I remember the most so far is the Ryan Farag. That was meant to be a very hard step up. Obviously I headlined my first show as well, which was like a sort of a boxing bucket list tip. And there was a lot of bad blood build up. I think we built the fight very well for 2 super flyweights. He's had a few losses, and I hadn't boxed on TV at all at this point. So to main event and a decent little card in the Oracle, and then I built off that. But that was the night that was sort of like a coming of age performance, because a lot of people, and they wouldn't have been wrong in thinking it was a hard fight, and a lot of people had him to cause me nightmares that fight, and it just didn't happen. And then obviously the Granados fight, I boxed only 7 weeks after. I did get put down, and like I said, I sustained an injury in the second round, but I got through it. I showed that I'm made of tougher stuff than that.
He hardly put a glove on you after that knockdown.
Yeah, and before he didn't really, to be honest, but then after he swung that big dark right hand, I thought he's not doing that again. But like I said, I'm just enjoying it. And Pedro Matos, I was coming off an injury. From when I got injured to when I started training, I did not step in foot in the gym for 8 weeks. You know what I mean? I ballooned up, I put on over 2 stone. So that was just sort of coming back into it, and I performed very well, and I felt as fit as I ever have.
So what about this Mexican lad? What sort of fight can we expect? Is he a typical sort of Mexican fighter?
Do you know what? I don't ever study too much of my opponents. I look at them when I get off an opponent, and I look at them with my trainer, but he tends to watch the whole fights, and I just watch a minute of the round and say, yes, usually that's been the pattern so far. Because I can't really watch what he's doing against these other Mexicans that are standing there in front of him, because very, very few people in the world have got a style like me. So they can look great against someone that's standing there in front of them, but until they're in with me, then they're different. They're a different fighter, because I'm in with them. But he's never been stopped. Like I said, he's boxed up at featherweight, winning against undefeated fighters that signed to Golden Boy, on Golden Boy promotion. So he's no mug, and he's coming to win. So, I mean, this is why the IBF passed this opponent. We had an opponent that was knocked back, unfortunately, another one of Jamie Collins' ex-opponents, the one before his world title, and that was another war. I think Jamie Collins got put down in the 7th, but got the win on a split decision. But that would have been a good stepping stone. But this fight here, very tough from what I've seen. It's typical Mexican. Come to have a go. If I'm standing in front of me or be throwing punches, if I start slowing down, he'll keep going. You know what I mean?
And never stopped.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I've never tried to sell myself as the biggest puncher in the world. I'm quite happy to say that I'm not, but I've got enough in my punch to stop people walking through me, and I'm elusive enough and tricky enough that over 10, soon to be 12 rounds, they don't really get too much opportunity to do any damage.
Last one for you. How does a Croydon boy, well, Croydon boys, I should say, how do you get on in my hometown, Sheffield?
Well, originally it's for university. I studied for a couple of years when I first moved.
Hallam University, right?
Hallam University, I was at. And then when I went on GB, I couldn't go to university no more, because I had Monday to Thursday, I was up full-time on GB podium, and all my lectures were in between those days, so I think I had 3% attendance in my second year. Then when I turned pro, I moved to Marbella for a few months, tried working with a trainer out there, didn't work out, and at that point, my trainer now, who was my trainer as an amateur, Grant Smith, could train amateurs and pros again when the rules changed, and then I went straight back to him. And yeah, I love it, do you know what I mean? It's like my home city really now. I spend all my time there, I don't really leave too much. I've got a baby who lives in Sheffield, so yeah, it's my life now. And when I'm in the next 12 months, 18 months, so I'll be looking to buy houses and that up there as well. So I've relocated for good.
And lastly, your mum, she going to be there at ringside again on Saturday?
Yeah, my mum's going to be there, which is good. It's always a good little boost to come out to her in the change room and whatnot.
She's had her battles with her health, and it must give you a boost that she so wants to be there to see you.
Yeah, she loves it. Sometimes, I don't know, it depends what mood we catch her in. Sometimes she'll just be crying, sometimes she'll be dancing, I don't know. So hopefully I box well enough that she's enjoying it. But this has been something in my life since the month before I won my first senior ABAs. This is when all of this happened, and that was 5 years ago. So it's something we've had to come to terms with. you can turn around and be like, oh, why us? Why do we have to go through this with our family? But at the end of the day, we was blessed and lucky to have a loving mum. Oh, sorry, I don't mean it like was have, but we still have her here. And we had the perfect mum, and we have such a good relationship with her. And some people that are very close to me didn't have that luxury. So I can feel sorry for myself all I want, but there's people to the left and right of me with much worse situation. So I'm just blessed. Maybe we're living on borrowed time with her, but every day we get to see her.
Archie's son's a terrific talent, isn't he? And he's showing that in every appearance he makes now, and all the time moving closer towards that holy grail of the world title.
Yeah, obviously, he's got a tough fight on Saturday. It's another ranking that he'll be climbing the ladder with another governing body that will be climbing the rankings with on Saturday with the IBF. We got him ranked at number 13 at the convention about 6 weeks ago. So they're recognising that he's a super talent, as well as the WBO already have done last year. It's pretty clear that none of the domestic guys fancy it too much. Again, spoke to Tommy Frank's promoter in Macau at the IBF convention, and he just said, "No thanks, not for now." And I said, "Well, when then?" So,
that's it. Every time I get told, when the time's right, every single time when the time's right, the time will never be right. Because when I win a world title, if you think for a second I'm turning around and giving any of these jokers an opportunity, it's not happening. It's not happening.
So Sonny's, he's almost like press fast forward on the quality of opposition that he's facing. But as you can hear from how grounded he is, how dedicated he is, and relocating to a new city and starting a family in a new city, it's not something he's playing at. Sonny did an interview with BT Sport a few months back, and he said that he's been doing this for since he's 11 years old. So it's not something that he's taking lightly at all. This is his life and his career, and he's doing it to better himself, better his family.
Let's move on to Archie. His fight against Jordan McCorry coming up, WBO European Super Featherweight title fight, 10-rounder, and it's an interesting sort of measuring fight for you, I would think. You're wanting to do a better job on him than Sam Bowen did.
Yeah, well, people have said that, but to be honest with you, I've just got to do what I need to do. Macquarie gives Sam Bowen a lot of troubles that night, so I've just got to make sure I get through with a win and win in style.
I've been reading one or two of the quotes and hearing what he's been saying about the fights, and he thinks that his physical strength is gonna shock you, and that he's going to be able to put it on you as others haven't.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I've been in this game now since I was 7 years old, and I keep hearing the same stories. I'm now 24 and nothing's changed. So yeah, he's going to get in there. He's going to get himself fit, strong, try and rough me up for 10 rounds, like they all say they're going to do.
Pretty much as Leon Woodstock said he was going to do.
Well, exactly that. My footwork was too much for him, and it'll be the same on Saturday. And he's going to be shocked because it's 9 months now since I boxed Woodstock, so I've got a lot stronger myself, and he's gonna find out that himself.
You do feel that you're a physically stronger man than you were that night in Leicester?
Yeah, 100%, and in training it's showing, so it's good. I'm looking forward to Saturday.
You mentioned your footwork there. How much is that the key to your terrific success? Is that what you really think you are exceptional at?
Yeah, my footwork is phenomenal, and it has always been. So yeah, I just keep them. Everyone, when I first turned pro, everyone said, "Oh, you had too much of an amateur style. You can't do that in the pros." But at the end of the day, I train that hard. I can do it for 15 rounds, so it doesn't matter. So, and like I say, on Saturday you'll see that this fighter's going to come out. He's going to try and rough me up, and he's going to fall through ropes. And I should make easy work of it on Saturday. But like I say, he's a tough opponent. But I've trained hard to make. No one's coming to come and, especially to my hometown, and take my belt off me. So.
Last fights, you landed some pretty good body shots to put the guy in trouble, and showing a little bit of that power that you're talking about.
Exactly that. Listen, no one has said that I'm a big heavy puncher, but and they say that Sam Bowen is a big puncher. Sam Bowen's not stopped me any more than me, so I'm starting to show now that I can put people away, and the more I grow into the super featherweight division, into the weight, the stronger I'm getting, and on Saturday you will see that. Is
Sam Bowen, provided you come through on Saturday, is Sam Bowen an inevitable fight somewhere down the line? I mean, there are other people like Zelfa Barrett, for instance.
Yeah, at the minute, the super featherweight division is hot. It is
Yeah,
on
very
fire
much
at the
so.
minute, and there's some great fights out there. Obviously, Jamel Herring, the WBO world champion, has mentioned my name as well in interviews. So, like I said, I've got to get through Saturday, make sure I put on a good performance, and then I'll go back with the team and have a look what options we've got.
Still only 24, aren't you, as well? I mean, there's time on your side. It doesn't have to be tomorrow to get this world title fight. There's really no rush.
100%, but also I wouldn't take fights where I don't think I'm going to win. So if I wouldn't take that fight if I thought I wasn't ready for that fight.
Francis, the whole division at the moment is exciting in this country.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's quite similar to the, if you look at the featherweight division, Josh Morrison's beat, 3 domestic opponents in a row for to win and defend his world titles. We're getting treated at the super featherweight division, even earlier, because these guys are all sort of, they're talking between 10 and 20 fights. If you look at, Archie and Leon last year, Leon and Zelfa, in Leeds. You've got a great fight between Sam Bowen and Kikachi, and Bowen and McCory was a great fight as well. And now, so they're all in the mix together. And I think the real winners here, obviously, are the fans, because they're getting treated to some fantastic nights of boxing. With Archie, he's got a real tough fight on Saturday. I thought Jordan McCory really gave a good performance against Sam Bowen. And as soon as when the fight finished, I just said to Jordan, I said, please come back and fight for us again, because you're going to be a real test for any of our guys, and that's what Archie's got. I feel Archie's got all the capabilities to put on a fantastic performance on Saturday, to come through it looking really good. After beating Leon, we would have liked to have get Archie to kick on a bit quicker. Had a bit of an injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Quicks, in a 6-rounder, come back, looked good, and I think he's ready to pick up where he left off last October. And really looking forward to seeing you back doing what you do best.
Jordan said he's going to come out all guns blazing. Is that going to be something you'd welcome if he comes straight at you, trying to rough you up from word go?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I've trained for. So I've trained harder now than what I did when I boxed Woodstock. So, like I say, I'm in the best shape now. And like I say, on Saturday he's going to come and he's going to try and hunt me down and do what everyone else says they're going to do.
And I'm sure you're finding now that boxing fans are really starting to take notes. You've had the exposure, and you've produced the performances to go with it.
Exactly that. It's getting there now, and I've just got to keep winning, keep doing what I've got to do, and all these big opportunities will come.
Right, let's move on to Leo, who's going to be fighting Karim Achour for the vacant WBC silver middleweight championship, and I lose track of exactly what these mean. That guarantees a top 10 ranking, does it, Sir Francis?
Well, Liam's already number 10, so
is it top 5?
When Liam wins this on Saturday, we'll put a request in on the Monday morning for a top 5 ranking. Yeah. I mean, I think Hassan Adam was ranked number 4, who was the previous holder of the belt. So, that's where this belt gets you. It's, real recognition, and you're only 1 or 2 fights away then from in the mandatory position for a world title fight.
And he really is moving impressively now towards a likely world title fight, I guess you could say, within 12 months.
Really enjoying his boxing. Come to me at the workout yesterday, when shadow boxing, he went, give me 5 extra minutes, I'm enjoying this.
Well, he wants us to fight.
No, not 5 minutes for me. But 5 minutes extra, in front of the crowd, and he's enjoying it. And I think obviously after the setbacks he had, he's come back so strong, and we're all fully behind him, and really he's motivated to win that title on Saturday and get back in the world title mix.
Yeah, since you switched up to Sheffield after those defeats against Liam Smith, terrific win against Mark Heffron, which I thought that night you were absolutely outstanding. It really was a very good performance. And then the first defence against Joe Mullender, you put him away in quick time, as you said you would do. How happy are you with the way your career is right now?
Yeah, everything's gone perfect. Everything's going to plan. I believe the move to Sheffield was the best move of my career. It came at the right time. I'm still young enough to keep learning and progressing, whereas if I'd done it 2-3 years later, who knows, I might not have slipped into the mould now. But yeah, I mean, it all came at a good time. I'm performing well, happy with my performances, but I believe I need bigger name opponents now to bring the best out of me, because I honestly feel like, you know, I'm too good for these guys I'm fighting. I've got a hard fight Saturday night, you know, with a highly ranked guy, previously being European champion and stuff, so he could bring, you know, it could be a tough fight, but I'm going in there with I got every plan to stop him, because no one's done it before and I want to make a statement.
Went the distance with Martin Murray, went the distance last year with David Lemieux. I mean, he's obviously a guy who knows his way around the boxing ring. He sounds tough.
Yeah, of course, he's been around anybody with that much experience and that many fights under their belt. They're always going to be tough on all the way around the ring, obviously, but I mean, I just believe I'm on very good form at the moment, and I'm only getting better, getting stronger. I'm not struggling to make weight at all, making it easy. Yeah, I think you're going to see another devastating performance on Saturday, and I'm going to be the first man to stop him.
What's been so good for you about the move up to Sheffield? What is it about the Ingle gym that you like?
I think mainly for me is just the dedication side of it. I'm away from home. I got no distractions. If you look in the fridge in my flat, it's 1 pint of skim milk in the fridge, nothing else. I got no option to go in the fridge and like cheat and
You don't like food?
yeah. So I got no one phoning me to like, oh, do you want to just come for a little bit of food? Do you want to do this, do that? I'm waking up early in the morning. I'm training. I'm going back. I'm lying in bed until I train again, and that's my life. And that's why I've kept pushing on now, and my performances are only getting better because I'm living the right life, and everything is perfect. And I've obviously got a great trainer in Dominic Ingle.
Have you got more self-belief, Liam, than you had maybe 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago? You know, I mean, it's all very well for us to say he's a world-class fighter, but do you now really believe that?
1,000,000%. I believe I'm going to win a world title within the next year, probably. Hopefully quicker than a year, but you know, you just don't know what's going to happen in boxing, and I'm definitely a lot more confident in my ability now because I know I'm doing everything the right way, which is a big thing mentally. When you cut in corners and stuff, you always have that little bit of doubt in yourself, and you always question yourself. You know, you just know you haven't done things to the way exactly they should be. So now I'm doing everything right. I just got 100% confidence, and I know the talent is there. So I'm ready. I'm ready for anyone on now.
There's some good fighters in the middleweight division. Charlo, Alvarez, obviously, if he's still going to fight as a middleweight in theory, he could. Andrade, I mean, there are good guys out there. Who would you like to face if you had the chance of a world title?
At the moment, I always say this, and people are going to think like I'm stupid, but Golovkin is not a world champion right now. But I'd absolutely love to fight Gary Golovkin because I've always watched him and I've always loved watching him. But I just think he's at that stage now where he's not on the slide, but he's getting to that age now where he's going to start dipping at some point. And I just love a challenge. If you ask anyone, I'm pretty fearless. I'm up for the challenge, 100%. If you offer me that fight tomorrow, let's go.
You really, really would. If Francis gets on the phone and says, the chance of Golovkin, you'd be there.
On my daughter's life, if he offered me that fight tomorrow, it's a done deal.
Okay. Well, Karim Achur, I'd better watch out. Yeah, you get on the phone. But he's a talent. We've all known that, and he came up short against Liam in those two fights when maybe with had things been different, maybe he would have pushed on from there and won those fights, and it would have all been different. But sometimes things happen for a reason, Francis.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gary Lockett did a fantastic job with Liam, and no disrespect to Gary whatsoever, but I think the move up to Sheffield, as Liam said, has rejuvenated him and given him a new lease of life in his boxing career. I think becoming a father as well maybe has focused him a lot more. We have good chats about our kids and stuff like that, and I think it's a very, very different Liam Williams we're seeing today and at the moment, and it's a guy who's not focusing on okay, so he'll be focused on the next fight, but I think he's got bigger ambitions than he's ever had before, and rightly so. He's got more self-belief.
But the important thing right now is to look good on Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. That's my main focus right now, and I fully believe I'm going to look good because I've trained my nuts off. I'm ready, and you know my weight is good. I've done everything perfectly, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a devastating end to Saturday night.
Well, these three fights are all part of our televised bill on Saturday night on BT Sport. The main event will be concentrating on tomorrow, which is Nathan Gorman and Daniel Dubois. But next up, it's the heavyweights, Ryan Jennings and, of course, Joe Joyce. So thanks to these guys for the moment, and we'll get the big lads up next.